What if I told you there was a man so rich, so powerful, and so untouchable that he once burned $2 million in cash just to keep his daughter warm? That's not from a movie. That's real life. That was Pablo Escobar, the king of cocaine, the most feared narco-terrorist in history, and the richest gangster the world has ever known. At his peak, Escobar controlled more than 80% of the world's cocaine supply and earned over $420 million a week, which translates to nearly $22 billion a year. With a net worth of $30 billion, he didn't just buy mansions and private jets. He bought entire neighborhoods, entire airports, even entire governments. And how he spent that money was as outrageous as how he made it. From building his own prison to smuggling hippos into Colombia, Escobar's story isn't just about crime, it's about obsession, ambition, and unthinkable luxury. But before the world knew his name, Pablo was just another kid in Medellin, Colombia. Born to a poor farmer and a schoolteacher, Escobar grew up watching power from the outside. He didn't want to work hard for a simple life. He wanted everything. Early on, he started hustling on the streets, stealing tombstones to resell them, smuggling cigarettes, selling fake lottery tickets, even bribing police to look the other way. He wasn't just a criminal, he was a student of power, and by the time he reached his 20s, petty theft was beneath him. By the early 1970s, Escobar shifted his focus to Colombia's growing drug trade. Marijuana was profitable, but Escobar had his eyes on something much bigger: cocaine. Back then, the cocaine industry was disorganized and fragmented. Escobar saw an opportunity to dominate. He partnered with chemists and traffickers, creating an efficient drug pipeline that connected the coca fields of Peru and Bolivia to laboratories in Colombia and markets in the United States. The demand was exploding. Cocaine was considered a luxury drug in the US, reserved for the wealthy and famous. Escobar wanted to make it available to everyone and make billions in the process. And that's exactly what happened. As the founder of the Medellin Cartel, Escobar introduced trafficking innovations the world had never seen. He hollowed out airplane tires, stuffed drugs into coffee shipments, built secret compartments in vehicles, and even used submarines. One of the most infamous routes passed through Norman's Cay in the Bahamas, a remote island that became a smuggling hub with a private airstrip, nightclub, armed guards, and a cartel-run hotel. They even had radar systems to detect DEA planes. Pablo's cartel became so successful that it was said they ran out of places to hide the money. Warehouses were filled with stacks of cash, some of it buried in fields and abandoned, and billions were lost to rats, mold, and forgetfulness. His brother, Roberto Escobar, once said the cartel lost over $2.1 billion a year just from spoilage and rodents. But they didn't care. The profits were endless. Storing the money was a problem they were happy to have. With unlimited cash flow, Escobar built an empire of excess. His most famous estate was Hacienda Nápoles, a 7,000-acre paradise that looked more like a theme park than a drug lord's hideout. It had everything: a private airstrip, a heliport, dozens of luxury cars, a bull ring, artificial lakes, and even a zoo. And not just any zoo. He imported exotic animals like elephants, giraffes, rhinos, and 4 hippos. Those hippos, left to roam free after his death, have multiplied into over 100 and now cause ecological chaos in Colombia. Inside the mansion, there were marble floors, gold trim, fine art, ballrooms for lavish parties, and private quarters for his inner circle. He also owned a Miami mansion with floor-to-ceiling glass, a private dock, and wraparound terraces, which was later seized by US authorities and demolished in 2016. During demolition, 2 safes were discovered and mysteriously vanished. He owned a tropical island retreat in the Caribbean, complete with coral-built mansions, a marina, 300 rooms, and gold-plated bathroom fixtures. His wealth wasn't confined to Colombia. From Miami to the Bahamas to hidden Caribbean getaways, Escobar created a global luxury network fueled entirely by cocaine. He also built the Monaco Building, a luxurious residence in Medellin with swimming pools, panic rooms, and 34 parking spots. But luxury came at a price. The building was bombed in 1988 by the rival Cali cartel. Even that couldn't stop him. Escobar didn't just live large, he redefined extravagance. He bought a 1972 Mercedes-Benz 600 Pullman, a car so exclusive that only 304 were ever made. He kept one even after it was wrecked, displaying the remains like a trophy. He had a Porsche 556, a rare gem of a car that highlighted his taste and status. He collected Cadillacs, jet skis, Harley-Davidsons, and Simcas. He had over 15 helicopters, 2 submarines, and 32 yachts. His aircraft fleet included Learjets, Piper Super Cubs, and a DC-3 with a massive cargo hold for drug runs. Some say it was even armed. Even his guns were over the top. One of his AK-47s was gold-plated, because if you're going to kill, why not do it in style? And when it came to family, Escobar spared no expense. He once tried to get a real unicorn for his daughter's birthday by gluing a horn to a white horse. He filled birthday piñatas with bundles of cash. At family gatherings, he raffled off rare artwork. To Escobar, money wasn't just a tool, it was a performance. Every act of generosity, every outrageous display was a message. I can buy anything. By the late 1980s, Escobar was more than just a criminal. He was a global symbol of wealth and fear. Politicians, judges, police, everyone had a price, and Escobar had the money to pay it. He offered officials the infamous choice, plata o plomo, silver or lead. Take the bribe or take the bullet. And most took the bribe. But Escobar made a fatal mistake when he ordered the assassination of Justice Minister Rodrigo Lara Bonilla in 1984. The Colombian government could no longer look the other way. With U.S. pressure mounting, extradition to America was looming. So Escobar did what no one saw coming. He surrendered. But only on one condition. He would build his own prison. And so La Catedral was born. Built on a mountain with a view of Medellin, La Catedral wasn't a prison. It was a fortress. It had a bar, jacuzzi, football field, waterfall, telescope, a dollhouse, even a secret cocaine storage and a secret tunnel. Escobar lived in luxury, continued to run his cartel, and even had parties with prostitutes flown in. But after murdering 2 of his lieutenants inside La Catedral, the government planned to transfer him. Before they could, he escaped. He vanished into the mountains, triggering a 16-month-long manhunt. Even while on the run, Escobar's empire didn't crumble. He used his jets, boats, and hidden tunnels to stay ahead of the authorities. He never stopped operating, but his time was running out. On December 2, 1993, Colombian forces, assisted by U.S. intelligence, tracked him to a safe house in Medellin. A shootout erupted on the rooftop. Escobar was hit 3 times, once in the leg, once in the torso, and once behind the ear. Some say it was the police. Others, including his son, claim he took his own life, just as he'd always promised he would. He once told his family that if he were ever cornered, he'd shoot himself in the ear to avoid being captured alive. His son remains convinced this is how it ended. Regardless, the manhunt was over. The king of cocaine was dead. But his legend had only just begun. Decades later, Escobar's story continues to captivate the world. His life has inspired Netflix series, documentaries, and countless books. His former estate, Hacienda Nápoles, is now a theme park with safari rides and water slides. His hippos still roam the countryside. His legacy remains a complex mix of fascination and horror. While he built homes for the poor and handed out cash to struggling families, he also left behind thousands of deaths, bombings, and a legacy of violence that changed Colombia forever. And yet no cartel boss alive today, in 2025 or otherwise, has come close to Escobar's scale. Mexican cartels, the Italian Mafia, Russian oligarchs, none of them burned millions to stay warm. None of them built their own prison, and none of them smuggled hippos. Escobar was not just the richest gangster of all time, he was the most unforgettable. His empire rose with blood, ruled with cash, and fell with bullets. But his story lives on as the most audacious, outrageous, and powerful criminal saga the world has ever known.